Anyway, while I was at the show, I actually wanted to talk about this with you. While I was at the show, I noticed so Karun was there.
Shout out Karen.
Or Karen. And see, that's how she said she likes to be referenced. Anyway, Ran was also there, and both of them seemed very, very involved in what We're Nubia had going on. Like when We're Nubia were coming on stage, like I noticed like Karen and Ran were both like really hands-on. Last time I was talking to somebody in the industry and I was like, yo, who manages We're Nubia?
Yeah.
And the response I got was that they're self-managing their shit. Like they're just they kind of just
They're
do
running
their own
themselves.
things. How many run puns are we gonna do?
Run pun.
Run puns. Like this is the run pun
Run pun
podcast.
pod.
Apparently. So anyway, so me, I've always known that they're kind of like just doing this shit by themselves, right? But then when I was there, I was like, wait, it seems like Karen and Ran were
They're doing
very
a lot.
because like what they needed water, like you know how artists need water on stage.
They're doing stage
and
management.
stuff like that. Yeah. So they were like, yo, even Karen was like water. And then when the dancers were coming off the stage, like Karen would go talk to them. I don't know what they're talking about, but like just kind of like it felt very like managey-ish.
Yeah.
And I was like, is Karen managing We're Nubia? I had to ask the question. Like in my head, I'm like, is Karen managing We're Nubia? Now that might not be listen, me, I'm just like speculating. But it got me thinking about artists managing other artists.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It's a thing since the dawn of time. And some people like it, some people think it might be problematic. And I wanted to ask you, how do you generally feel about artists managing artists? Do you think it offers more value because this artist, and usually it's an artist who has had some semblance of success, right? Has had experience.
Sometimes.
Most times.
There's artists I've seen who haven't done anything and they're talking about, yo, let me sign you. But anyway.
Okay, but that's not what's happening in this case.
That's not the norm. Yeah.
But yeah, like so usually they're coming with vast experience. They're coming with, you know, a lot of time spent in the industry,
Gathered
and
resources.
networks,
Yeah.
connections,
Yeah.
as well as resources. So looking at it from that angle, some people would say this is a plus. Like it's a value add. Like I want somebody who has been this entrenched into the industry to manage what I've got going on. Other people feel like having an artist be your manager or kind of manage like your situation might be a bit of a challenge because they also are working on their
Divided
own
attention.
Yeah, their own career. Like for example, people always say like Drake, the artists who are signed under him, they never
Then,
like really thrive because like bro is like all about like his own brand and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so people are like, I don't know if it's a good idea to like sign under an artist. But you, what do you think?
Yeah, this is one of those things where I think it just depends. A lot of the times it doesn't really work out. I think just because of the nature of how art is. Artists might, as much as they might mean well, it will be hard for them to, because you're balancing the spotlight, essentially is what you're doing. You're balancing the spotlight, you're balancing business. And that becomes very tricky for some artists. The artists who do that well. And I think the ones that do that well are the ones who are able to be not as hands-on, like they're able to be a little bit removed from the process. And so they're just offering oversight. If I bring it to the Kenyan context, I think that's what Sauti Sol, Chimano, Bien, Polycarp, and Savara were doing for Soul Generation while I was there. It's more of oversight. They're not like every day in there, like, oh, what are you doing? But then you have a team and then you just manage direction, you manage vibes, you manage all that resources and everything. So when you do that, artists who do that, especially if they have experience, that works out very well. The problem is artists who have not figured out the systems for themselves. And not just figured it out for themselves, but then don't have the experience in that specific system.
You mean the artist who...
the artist who is managing.
On to manage.
Yeah,
Okay.
The managing artist. They don't have the experience. They don't have the all the resources that I think, or they need some of those resources for themselves. Because when push comes to shove, might end up using it for themselves. So those are the kind of artists where it's like you're like it's probably not wise for an artist to sign to another artist who is still building themselves up, unless obviously they have the separate resources, a separate team for managing these people. Sometimes it works, but if it's working, it's only working for like artists who are small. Once you get on the big stage, it's never going to work if you're doing it solo. I don't know if that makes sense.
Wait, what do you think it wouldn't work in the big stage?
On the big stage, big money going around, big shows, big artists just you would be balancing, it wouldn't be even conscious, but then subconsciously you would be, listen, if I as an artist, I have an opportunity to charge for $500,000 a show, right? Of course, there's a big artist now. You're charging $500,000 a show. And you have your upcoming artist who has also been offered that amount of money because maybe they have a smash hit. You guys have done a big hit. As an artist, I feel like there'll be a bit of a push and pull. Like it's very few people. I'm saying is very few people will give that opportunity to the younger artist.
So are you saying that there's an issue with ego? It's called dramatic effect.
Maybe in dramatic.
Is there an issue with ego?
Yeah. Egos
clash.
They clash a lot, and there's many stories about that. Like many artists who've signed to other artists who have kept them from the spotlight. Like a very big or notable one would be, I'm thinking of like Joe Budden when he had Pump It Up, and he was like really out in the streets. He signed to Jay-Z, but then Joe's
technically
sort
not
of
to Jay-Z.
Yeah, but to Rock Nation.
Okay.
And well, I don't know whether it's Rock Nation or whatever. Jay-Z was involved, right? Now, I'm only bringing it up.
I believe it was Def Jam.
Probably Def Jam. Sorry, I got it wrong. He has complained many times that he wasn't given the shine that he thought he would be getting from Jay-Z.
That's valid. Mm-hmm.
And he's saying that if he probably was signed to someone else, maybe he would have those opportunities that he got, he would have taken it, and he wouldn't have been. Of course, he had beef with him because Jay-Z also took his biggest record, Pump It Up, and did a freestyle on it, and Joe felt like he overshadowed him on that. So that's the kind of thing that happens when you're at that big stage. It's hard for one artist who has a lot of shine and momentum and still has goals to achieve to just give that up and be like, you know what, here, you're a young artist, you have it. Very few people do that.
That's a key thing you've said. And still has goals to achieve.
Yeah.
Because if an artist doesn't feel like they still have those goals to achieve, then they could actually set the other artists they have up for greatness. One example that's coming to me is if you guys were really tapped into like Juice WRLD and that era of music, before Juice WRLD, I was really, really locked in. And this is actually some of my lore in terms of how I started making music. I was really entrenched in the Chicago drill scene.
Yeah.
That's how I started making music because I wanted to make drill music. And there was one artist I really, really liked. He was called Lil Bibby. He used to make
BB, not baby.
BIBBY, Bibby. And so yeah, he used to he used to make music with G Herbo. You know G Herbo.
Yeah.
At the time, G Herbo used to go by Lil Herb. So anyway, I was a huge fan of what they had going on. And then all of a sudden, Lil Bibby stopped. He just stopped making music. And he was like, yeah, I'm falling back. And we're like, what's going on? Whole time, he started a whole production company called Grade A Productions.
Yeah.
And he signed Juice WRLD. And he made Juice WRLD one of the biggest artists in the world.
But BB is not like a BB. I'm calling him BB.
But the thing I'm saying is to piggyback onto what you're saying is I think he's done with music.
But that's what I was about to say. Like he's not a household name, so it's not like
for some people he's a household name.
It's not
he's
my
a household name to me.
Not my household. But yeah, it didn't seem like he was.
This is a podcast about hurting each other's feelings. What's going on?
Oh, wait, did that hurt your feelings?
Yes. Because I rate him highly.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry, but I
Lil Bibby, when Spotify were doing the
I'm apologizing, bro.
Oh wait, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say when Spotify were rolling out the stats thing, Lil Bibby is the first artist I ever listened to on Spotify.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A song with another guy called King Louis. That's how we move. Anyway.
Yeah. So like for him now, it probably is like I'm not trying to be like to push for spotlight like that. If an artist is really trying to push for the spotlight, at some point the artist who has signed to them, because there's obviously inferior, I don't mean inferior in like a bad way, but then you're
There's
not
a complex.
Not even a complex, like your lower priority in their eyes. And so it's going to be very hard for them to get an opportunity which would definitely better you.
But not if you're making a bunch of money. Like right now, Ty Dolla $ign is managing the guy who made Mutt, Leon Thomas.
Leon Thomas. Okay.
And Ty Dolla $ign is actively making music. So it's like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So maybe
sometimes it could work.
If this fringe theory of mine about Karun having a hand in what We Are Nubia have going on is a thing, maybe this is good.
Yeah, it could work. Again, it could work if.
But then this is just complete speculation.
Yeah, this is conjecture. Is it conjecture? Is that the word?
Conjecture.
Is that the word? That's the thing. If like, for example, I'm pretty sure Ty Dolla $ign is not doing it himself. Like, he's not. All I'm saying is that because there's a high levels. At the high levels, obviously the artists have they have labels, they have groups, and so they have the resources enough to take care of that artist without being hands-on involved. So that works. When you bring it down to a low level where it's artists that are just starting out, it's hard. Even artists who signed to, just broaden it, artists who sign to producers, that's the same thing. Sometimes, while that's almost a different thing, if a producer has signed 3, 4, 5 artists, he begins to weigh his priorities, and that can affect an artist a lot. So it's just a whole thing. If an artist has a label and you're sure that, listen, they have enough resources to go around and I don't have to rely on their text. All right, this is ready to release, unless you have that relationship with them. But then, okay, now this is ready. If you don't have to wait for that, then it's fine to sign to an artist, because they sort of, if it's a good artist, they know some of the pitfalls. They know some of they've been through the road that you're going to go to or through in some sense.
For me, I think the only advice I would say is just be sure that the artist who you're signing to is really, really like locked in on your career. You know what I mean? Cause yeah, there really is times when they also now start to prioritize what they've got going on, and then like now it's just,
and stealing is real.
You know what I mean?
If they're prioritizing themselves,
that's another thing.
You're like, doing in the studio, they'll be popping to the studio. Oh yeah, I like this. Next week they release a song, the same exact name, same melodies. There's nothing you can do about it, because somewhere in the fine print in the contract, it's saying, hey, listen, if you do hear, and artists don't be reading their contracts too. If you hear that as any of your music is out, listen, just charge it to the game. That happens.
That does happen. Hopefully not in this case. Well, but this, like I said, this is a whole...
No, and also it's still... and I don't mean it's in a bad way, but it's speculation, obviously. Yeah, but it's also still...
But I think that's pretty cool, though. I think it's pretty cool if it's true. Like, if my thinking is right or whatever. Like, I think it would be a pretty interesting, like, dynamic. Because I do want to see... I want to see what that looks like in terms of leveraging the networks and just like even like the producers that like Karun uses, or I don't know, like even the vast amount of like networks in terms of like shows and that type of stuff. Like, it would be interesting to see them integrate that into We Are Nubia's.
It would be good, yeah.
We're speaking as though this is like something that's set in stone.
Okay. Listen, disclaimer, this is just...
Yes.
If this happens,